Hi everybody, it's Miss K again. We are going to go through another lesson today where we study different forms of linear equations. So go ahead and take out your notebook and write down this topic and the date. Okay, we're going to go through 4 different types of lines today. And I want to make sure that you write these examples down in your notebook. So make sure to ask to pause the video if you need more time for notes. So the first type of line we're going to look at is a line that has positive slope. That just means your line is increasing. We can write our equation using this formula. Y equals mx plus b. M is our slope, which we can find by finding the rise over the run. B is our y-intercept, which we can find by looking at where our line crosses our y-axis. First, let's look at our slope. I'm going to pick 2 points on our line and draw a slope triangle between them. We can see that our rise goes from 0 to 1, which means our rise is 1, and our run, which goes from -2 to 0, so 1, 2, our run is 2. So our slope, if we do our rise over our run, is 1 over 2. And it's positive because our line is increasing. Our y-intercept is where this line crosses this y-axis, which happens at the point 0, 1. B is 1. So our final equation is y equals 1/2 times x plus 1. So pause the video here and make sure you write down this example in your notebook. So we know how to go from graphs to equations, but we could also go from equations to a graph. So we're still looking at lines that have positive slopes. Remember, our equations are written in this form. Y equals mx plus b. Let me fix that. I'm going to change that to plus b. So the m is the number that's with our x. That tells us what our slope is. In this case, it doesn't look like there's a number in front of the x. But remember, we can multiply any number by 1 and it will not change the original value. So this is actually 1x minus 5. So our slope is 1, And if we wanted to write that as a fraction, we could say it's 1 over 1. Which means our rise is 1 and our run is 1. Our b is the part that's not attached to the x. So in this case, our b is negative 5. This is our y-intercept. It's going to tell us where to start on our graph. So we're going to start at negative 5 on our y-axis. Our rise is 1, so we're going to go up 1, and our run is also 1, so over 1. Up 1, over 1. Up 1, over 1. Up 1, over 1. And I'm going to just draw a straight line through those points. So our slope was positive, which is good because our line is increasing, which means it has a positive slope. Pause the video here and make sure you have this example written down. Okay. Another type of line is a line that has negative slope. That just means our line is decreasing instead of increasing. We can still find our slope in the same way, looking for m, our rise and run, and b, our y-intercept. So m, our slope, is our rise over our run. B is our y-intercept. Let's find our slope first. I'm going to pick 2 points. And I'm going to draw a triangle between them. If you look at our scale, we're counting by ones each time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means each space is worth 1. So our rise, we went down 3. So our rise is negative 3. Our run is over 2. So our run equals 2. Our b is our y-intercept. It crosses, our line crosses the y-axis at 1. So our y-intercept is 1. So if I were to write our equation, our slope is negative 3 over 2x plus 1. That is our equation, which is good. Our line is going down, which means it should have a negative slope, and it does. Again, pause the video here and make sure you have this written down in your notebook. Okay, we can also draw a graph with negative slope from an equation that has a negative slope. Remember, our equation is y equals mx plus b. In this case, our m is negative 1/2. We can actually move that negative up and down, which is nice. This is the same as negative 1 over 2, which is also the same as 1 over negative 2. That negative can kind of shift up and down. It gets a little more complicated when you have multiple numbers on the top, but as long as there's one number on the top and the bottom, then that negative can move around. So let's write this as -1/2. That way we can see our rise is -1, which means we're going down 1, and our run is 2, which means we're going over 2. The second part is 3. That means our y-intercept and our starting point is 3. So I'm going to start us at 3. Then I'm going to go down 1 because our rise is -1 over 2. 1, 2. Down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. You can actually go the other direction too. You just need to make sure that all the points are lining up with each other. So that was not a great line. Let's try again. Yay. Okay, perfect. There is our line. A decreasing line because our slope is negative. All right. Now we're getting into some new types of lines that we have not practiced as much before. So let's look at this example. One type of line has 0 slope. Whoops. When it's flat, straight across. You could find this in 2 ways. So let's draw this. Y equals mx plus b. Well, we already know when it's a flat line, our slope is 0. M equals 0. There's no rise, which means it would be 0 divided by some number, just 0. We do, though, have a y-intercept at -4. So our equation becomes y equals, let's see, 0 times x plus -4. 0 times anything is just 0. So this goes away and just becomes 0. So we have y equals 0 plus -4. 0 plus -4 is just -4. Our equation for this line is y equals -4 because look, this is y, right? Our line crosses at -4. No matter what you plug in for x, like 2, your y is -4. Or if you plug in -6, your y is -4. This equation is basically telling you no matter what you put in for x, your y is always going to be -4. It's almost like setting a rule. Whatever you do, y is going to come out -4. So go ahead and pause this, and then we'll draw another example. Okay? So let's see. This is another example where it has 0 slope. This time, y equals 3. So basically, if we thought about drawing a table, when x is 0, y is 3. When x is 1, y is 3. When x is 2, y is 3. When x is 100, y is 3. This rule is telling us no matter what you put in for x, like 1, you're just going to get 3 for your y, no matter what. So our line is just going to be this flat line across, that crosses the y-axis at 3. Y equals 3 is a flat line that crosses at 3. Okay, so you'll get a little more practice with this tomorrow, but let's do one more example. The last example is when you have an undefined slope. For this equation does not work anymore. We just have to think about what's going on in this problem. So, let's see. Let's make a table with some of these points. So here we have the point 7, 0. Here we have the point 7, 2. Down here we have the point 7, negative 6. This time, no matter what we put in for our y, our x is always 7. So we say for this equation, x equals 7. This line crosses our x-axis at 7. So, if I were to draw this line, and say again, I created a table. When y is 0, x is negative 4. When y is 1,000, x is negative 4. When y is 3, x is negative 4. No matter what y is, x is always negative 4. So I'm just going to draw a bunch of dots where x is negative 4, and I can draw a line that goes through those points. It crosses at x equals negative 4 on the x-axis. So lines that are x equals something will be vertical lines. Lines that are y equals something will be flat lines. You guys are going to practice this today. You guys are going to go to deltamath.com again. Log in with your lunch number and password. You're going to do these 2 assignments today. Write equations of lines and also write vertical and horizontal lines. You need to get 3 problems right in each one. So let's look at one of these. So this is a straight up and down line that crosses at x equals 7. So your equation would be x equals 7. It says since the line is vertical and goes through the x-coordinate of 7, we must start the equation with x equals. Therefore, the equation is x equals 7. You need to get 3 of these correct. Then, you need to get 3 of these correct too. You need to write an equation for this line. Okay? Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye! Hi everybody, it's Miss K again.